Salutations, my name is Summer, and this is Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats. And I'd like to go over everything that I've read this week and everything I am currently reading this weekend and on to next week. So, the first thing I want to talk about is The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. And I struggled and struggled. I almost DNF'd it, but I'm so glad that I didn't because I love the beginning. The writing is beautiful. And then I wasn't that far into it before I started to, hey Sylvie, before I started to get so angry at the characters and what they were going through and how other people were reacting to what has happened to somebody. And I just got so angry. I felt like there was no justice. So I had to set it down. It's only 170 pages, I think. And I had to set it down, and I really considered DNFing it. But I had maybe 30 pages left to go, and I was like, oh, just read it. That way you can say you read it, and your opinion seems to matter more if I've read it. So I read the last 30 pages last night, and her writing is beautiful. It really is. And the idea, I mean, you have to be a great writer to make someone so angry, to make somebody feel like, this is really going on. And yeah, so I don't know. It's going to be a long time before I pick up another Toni Morrison. This is the fourth book of hers that I've read. And yeah, it was an emotional roller coaster the whole way through. And afterwards, after I read her afterward, and I loved hearing what she had to say about the story and when it was written, and that made me like it even more. So yeah, I finished that. And then I have not read a James Patterson since Along Came a Spider and Kissed the Girls. I mean, it's been a long time ago because I had read a couple things of his and I just was not happy with how his writing had changed. So anyway, the libraries were closed and I picked this up, A Woman of God by James Patterson and Maxine Petro. And it's an audiobook. It's on CD. And it's, I forget how many, 8 CDs, so it's not very long. Oh, it's so interesting. This this book reminded me of lasagna. There are so many different layers, yet most of them are smothered in cheese. So it's a little cheesy. The main character is a heroine. She just, can save everybody and do I mean, it's just kind of to the extreme. But it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And I love books about women and religion. Being Quaker, it's a normal thing to think about women and religion because we believe everybody's equal. So it's never even been an idea that men were closer to God than women. I mean, that just seems silly to me. But this book is, and it goes back and forth. So something really serious happens in the beginning. It's just like, whoa. And then it takes you back and tells you about her story. Bridget is the main character. And the hardship she goes through and her relationship with God. It is not overly religious at all. It's more like an adventure type story. So, but yeah, it was good. I'm gonna send it to my friend Whitney and we'll see if she likes it. I think she will. I also finished It's Not All Downhill from Here by Terry McMillan. I love Terry McMillan's books. There's not one that I just have not loved all the way through. This is about Laretha, who is she's getting ready to turn 68, and she's happily married. But life is the same. You know, her birthday's coming up, and it's like, oh, I don't want to have another birthday party that's at the same place, and you know, the same people will show up, and the same people won't show up, and she was just getting kind of bored of like, what now? You know, and she didn't want that kind of life where a lot of people, when they get to that age, it's just, I think they start to feel like they're too old for certain things, which is not true at all. So she's a strong woman. She's a business owner. She's an inspiration, and she has certain things going on that are hardships that she has to go through. But it's a great book, great story. I finished I Know This Much Is True by Wally Lamb, and I've talked about this book a lot, so I'm not going to say too much about it. But I will say, I forget how it's like a 900-page book, almost 900 pages. I loved the book all the way through. While I was reading it, and this isn't spoiling anything, but there's a point where you learn Mayfair is trying to climb up something that she should not be climbing up. I have this like huge cat tree over here, which actually Fenchurch is in, and anyway. So the grandfather's story. He never knew his grandfather, but he had diaries or journals or had his story written, and so he reads his grandfather's story, and that part of the book went a little slow for me, and I just kept, those chapters were hard where I was like, okay, now I'm flipping through how many more pages of this chapter before I get back to Dominic, you know? So while I was reading it, it was a little slow. I didn't struggle because it's such of a great story, but that part was a little slow for me. But now that I've read it, it doesn't feel like it was. It just feels like, yeah, I'm glad I know that part of the story too. What else was I going to say about this book? Oh, the ending. I'm the type of person where you don't have to tell me. You know, I can, if you don't tell me the ending of the story, I'm just going to create it whatever I want. You know, so the ending was wrapped up in a nice little bow, and I feel like life is kind of open, so you don't have to everything doesn't have to be put together at the ending. That's the only thing where I kind of felt like, oh, that wasn't necessary, but it was nice because, you know, it was nice how things ended, but I didn't need it. I still would have loved it without that. So the last thing I finished was The Revolution of Marina M. by Janet Fitch. This is the first book. I didn't know it was, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it's just going to be a duology or if it's going to be a big series. But the second book, which I cannot remember what the name of it is, but it's coming out next month. I think the end of next month, the second book comes out. So I've learned a lot about Russia, and the Soviet Union through this, and I still don't know very much, but I know more than I did when I first started reading this. And it starts out in 1917, so that's when, you know, the whole Civil War and everything was going on. And people, yeah, it's just that scary. Civil wars are just so scary to me. The idea of, I mean, war is scary no matter what, but the idea of the people next to you or feel totally different in such of a way that they'll react violently to you. So this is a great book. It had so many surprises. It was really good. I was very happy that I picked it up. So now I'm going to talk about what I'm currently reading. I have a friend from school. Actually, I still haven't seen him. He got a hold of me through Facebook and asked me if I want a couple boxes of books, and I was, yes, sure. So he sent me a couple boxes of books, and most of them are poetry. So I picked up Imperfect Love, poems by Miller Williams. I've never heard of Miller Williams, but I love poetry. I never read it. When I was a teenager, I used to write poetry and read it all the time. And I'm not sure what happened, why I got away from it. But now that I have all these books of poetry, I'm excited to get to them. So I just started it. I'm only on page 24, and they're most of them aren't very well. That one looks long, but a lot of them are short poems, and it's just something nice to read before I go to bed to just quiet down, calm down. Because some books, that The Bluest Eye, do not read that before you go to sleep. There's certain books you don't want to read when you're getting ready for bed because you'll be up all night tossing and turning, and at least I will. Okay, so this was on the Great American Reads. I just started it. I'm on page 18. Bless Me Ultima by Rudolfo Anya. Yeah, I not very far in this. Ultima is like a grandmother figure to this boy. And I forget I want to say his name's like Gabriel or something. I'm not for sure. I'm only on page 18. But it's really good. There is a lot of Spanish. So I pulled out my English Spanish dictionary, which I enjoy because I want to know more Spanish words. And so that's going to force me to look a lot of things up. So it'll be a slower read for me, but I'm looking forward to it. Another book that I just started reading last night is Being Mortal by Atul Gawande. Maybe that's his name. He's a doctor. So Kayla at Spontaneous Reader, she had a video where she was talking about this book. And I'm not for sure if she said it was one of her favorites, because I'm not sure what video it was that she was talking about it. But I'll put her channel name in the description below, since I don't know how to link anyway. But yeah, she really liked this book. So I was like, it sounded interesting when she talked about it. But I'm also kind of scared to read it. I know I'm mortal, but in the past 4 years, I've lost so many loved ones that were close to me. So I think it'll be really good for me to read. I just read the introduction, which was 10 pages. But I really like his writing, and I like his outlook on life and death so far, just in the introduction. So I think it's going to be really good. Also, I picked this book up a long time ago at Ollie's, and it's just Healing Crystals and Stones. And I'm not sure. It doesn't have an author. Oh, written by Cheryl DeVore Bailey. Anyway, I love learning about stones and crystals and what it has their mythology, it has their naming, location, and history, like amethyst, and it tells you uses and healings, physical properties. So, but it's very simple, so it's easy, and the pictures are beautiful. So I love books like this anyway. So I started reading The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. This is on the Great American Reads also. And by Mark Twain. And I have read it before because I'm just now on page or chapter 2, and they're not very long chapters. I think I'm on page 20. But yeah, once I started reading it, and he got in that fight with that little boy, I totally remembered reading this. I don't remember what happens. I don't remember the journey of the book, so I'm going to continue reading it. But yeah, when he got in that fight with that boy, and he's like, I'm gonna, and the boy's like, oh yeah, well come on. And I could just see a little cat fight between two little boys that are just a bunch of talk. So, and now he's in trouble. It's Saturday and he's gonna have to whitewash the bins. So, yeah, I'm not far in it, but I remember it and I am enjoying it. It's got me laughing. So, the last thing is the audiobook. And I'm halfway through it. It's super short. If I would have known how short it was, I would have just got the book. I would have just got the book too if I knew who the narrator was. So it's True Grit by Charles Portis. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I think everybody pretty much knows what this is about. It seems like it's a classic when it comes to westerns, but it's about this girl, teenage girl Maddie, who a man killed her father, and her father was a good man. We don't know him, but she describes him as a good man, and so she's searching for the man. She knows who the man is who killed her father, and she's going out and looking for him. Which, she has true grit. She was looking for a what do they call it? Not ranger. I was it like bounty hunter? But she wanted one with true. She wanted one with lots of grit. And I'm thinking, you're the one that has lots of grit. So yeah. But Donna Tartt is the reader. She has a nice voice, and I like how she how she does the male characters and the different characters. I like that. My only complaint is it's so slow. There'll be a long pause, and I'm thinking, oh, is the CD over, or is the CD messing up or skipping? And then she'll continue on, and sometimes between switching voices there'll be a real long pause and you'll hear her take a deep breath. And I'm thinking, I bet it's so hard to narrate audiobooks because I'm not good at reading out loud. So, and there's so many great ones out there though. But she's doing an okay job. I'm not a fan of her writing. I did not like The Goldfinch. I did not like The Secret History. So I thought it was interesting when they said that she was the one narrating the book. And there's going to be an essay, I believe, by her at the end of this. So I'm kind of looking forward to that because maybe I'll like, that more than I like her novels. We'll see. So, but I am enjoying the story, and I want to see the movie. I think there may be two. I think they may have redone it a couple of years back. I'm not for sure. Anyway, please let me know what you guys are currently reading, what you just read, if any of these books, if you've read any of them or you want to read any of them. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye.